I'm in a different grocery store. I'm in Safeway. I want you to look. It looks full, right? Looks full. Uh-huh. It's called facing. It's empty. And I'm seeing a lot of that in this store. So.
Not just the West Coast ports, it's the East Coast ports too. This one's in Boston. This is well under half the normal volume that you normally see at this port as far as containers go. It's gonna hit us soon. Everybody gotta get ready. It's gonna get bad.
Ports. And if our ports here in America are looking dry, could you imagine how the ports in China are looking?
He said, imagine how the ports in China are looking. Cool. But first, let's take a look around United States first. This is Port of Los Angeles. Pretty empty. This is Port of Miami. And then let's take a look around here. New Orleans, Galveston. I guess we should go look at Shanghai, especially China, like he suggested. So yeah, Shanghai's right here. This is Port of Shanghai, my hometown. And look at all of this. I don't know why the MAGA/conservative side is just full of these weird grifters that just wanna like glaze United States even though they know they're lying. When I made the video last week or so, like I told people the shelves might get empty based on my experience because I used to import a lot of stuff from China. I told people if you have things that you know that you buy that are made in China that are perishables and you need to stock them all the time, buy some and stock them up and just wait it out. Because we don't know when this freaking orange orangutan gonna like stop this trade war with China.
You know what's hilarious is the fact that we know starvation is on the horizon. The ports are empty. Overstock is disappearing. People getting laid off on their jobs. People losing their houses, their cars. Car industry is dead. I mean, people are in record high credit card debt. And we still gotta go to work, y'all. We still gotta go to work and pay bills. And I'm wondering how they're gonna do this when you have the people that are still working, still have jobs, but then they starving, they family starving. Are they still gonna make them come to work? Is this gonna be a nationwide emergency? Like, what is gonna happen exactly? I'm curious to see how they're gonna work this out, because you can't have an economy this bad. You know it's bad when hospitals start laying people off. You know it's bad when hospitals aren't receiving their supplies. I mean, that's a number one priority, saving lives. And to know that hospitals are shutting down, one, because corporations bankrupted them, but perfect timing, ain't that something? As soon as the supplies and stuff stop coming from China, all of a sudden you have all these private equity firms that purchased these hospitals years ago now bankrupting them. It's perfect timing. I tell you what. I don't know how they're gonna pull this one off. Or really, what's the end game? What is the plan here? I don't know. I bet you people that ain't never called on the name of the Lord is gonna call on his name now. That always happens. That's human nature. A lot of us feel like, oh, I don't need God, or you don't pay attention to God, or any of that until you need him, until you've been brought to the end of yourself. And when that stomach be growling, or when you need something for your child, oh, it's gonna bring you to the end of yourself, and you're gonna get, I never prayed before, but let me get on my knees and pray. That's what's gonna happen. And that's just how humans are. That's our nature. So even though this is not going to be fun or good, you know, and at the same time, it's going to bring about probably a revival.
Tariff update. So today is the day that Donald Trump has officially screwed my business. I have had to deactivate my ability to ship to America, who is anywhere from 75 to 90% of my business, on 2 of my Etsy shops. because the bulk of my materials come from China, I have no ability to say made in Canada, even though I do all the work here in customizing and assembling, engraving, whatnot. So for an Etsy store that has to hand make their products, which I do, I have to put made in China on the label in order to send to them. And then not only that, the customers from America will be hit with a 145% tariff. That means if they spend $15 on one of my necklaces, they're going to spend $21.75 to pay the tariff on top of that. This is going to devastate so many businesses. Almost all, base metals and steel for jewelry making and various other things as well come from China. That's where you get it. I don't know where else you get it, because here's the thing. You could buy it from suppliers in the US, in Canada, whatever, but where do they get it? And that's what the government cares about, the country of origin. So today's a hard day. I had really gotten my business moving in the last 6 months. It had been really going well. And now, because most of my sales come from the US, I don't know. Unless he changes his mind like he sometimes does, I have to rethink my career.
As of this morning on Friday, May 2nd, the Trump administration has completely suspended a very important U.S. import tax code called Section 321. Section 321 essentially allowed direct-to-consumer businesses like mine here at Passion Footwear to take advantage of a free trade status. The elimination of this policy has led to unbelievable price hikes for direct-to-consumer businesses overnight. And so as of this morning, we are officially adding a tariff tax line item to every single product in our storefront. To help break this down and explain why you, as an American consumer, should care, let's do a little tariff math lesson. And if at the end of this lesson you still think there's an argument that the Chinese government is actually the one paying these tariffs, power to you. To give the needed background, my company is Passion Footwear, and we have invented fully convertible heel technology that lets you turn a standard heel into a comfortable flat. We also let you swap out your heels to create custom looks. I think it's fair to say this is easily the most complicated footwear product on the market. Because of that, our shoes require the combination of specialty injection molding with craftsman footwear assembly. Those two processes currently only coexist at scale in China. For the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to share real data regarding our walnut knit booties. The most important thing to know is this shoe has a textile upper and is therefore being taxed at the highest possible rate. First, laying the groundwork, here is an actual screenshot from one of my POs at Passion. The booty in walnut knit has a cost of $40.54. By the way, everything you're hearing about Chinese labor being cheap slave labor is propaganda and a lie. In case y'all didn't know, companies like Nike can make sneakers for literally $7. My shoes are very expensive to make because the team that works on them in China are all specialty trained technicians, craftsmen, and mechanical engineers. So please point me to the slave labor, but that's beside the point. With a roughly $40 cost, we usually sell this shoe at full price for $230. However, right now it's on 60% off to try to make up for this tariff situation, but besides the point. Let's go ahead and do some simple tariff math. Let's go ahead and assume we're able to sell the shoe at full price for $230. As we now know, the physical material and labor cost of that shoe is $40.54. However, as my customers know, when you're buying a shoe from Passion, you're actually buying a bundle, and that $40.54 is only reflective of the upper part of the shoe's cost. Considering that there's a block heel kit in this bundle, we have to also factor in the heel price of $9.29. However, it's important to know this is not where cost of goods ends. First, we have to factor in the price of freight, which is what we pay a boat to actually bring this product into our warehouse. Freight is usually priced by volume because obviously the bigger an item is, the less of it you can fit into a container. The freight cost for our shoes is $3.41 per box, and then the freight cost for the heel kits, since they're much smaller, is usually only about 56 cents. This brings us to $3.97 for freight just to bring the product over here. Next, we have to layer in fulfillment fees, which is what we pay our warehouse per unit when they are picking and packing your order to prepare it for shipping. This fee is covering things like what we pay the warehouse to store the product before it sells, what we pay a warehouse worker to go pick up the product from the shelf once it's ordered, put it into a shipping container and put the label on it, as well as check it for any quality defects. All those little things put together adds up to about a $3 fulfillment fee per shoe, and then about an extra 44 cents per heel kit. Next up, as an e-commerce brand, we usually heavily subsidize shipping and even offer free shipping on most of our orders. On average, this is going to cost us about $12 to the consumer based on their location. Last but certainly not least, we have to factor in merchant fees, a percentage of each and every transaction that we pay to our website provider Shopify, to the credit card processing company, etc. This usually nets out to about $4.37 for a shoe purchase and then $1 for an additional heel kit purchase. Keep in mind, at this point, none of this is factoring in duty because we've been importing under Section 321, which lets us take advantage of free trade. So up until today, we have not had to factor duty into this equation. After we factor in all the different elements of cost of goods, this leaves us on a $230 sale, a total product profit of $155.39. This is otherwise known in the industry as your gross profit. In the fashion industry, you would usually be targeting about a 50% gross profit. Here, we're looking at 67.56%. However, calling this number gross profit is slightly misleading because this is not actually the profit into the business. At this point, you have to factor in your operating costs. The operating cost is going to be inclusive of everything you need to run your business that needs to be covered by the profits of the business. For instance, all of your salaries, marketing budget, your product development, as well as general overhead, which covers everything from office space to your software subscriptions. For instance, a big one for us is we have to pay to subscribe to Shopify to actually run our website. To that point, website maintenance costs. You get the gist. This list is not comprehensive, but essentially this number includes everything that is required to actually operate your business on a daily basis, broken down and divided out by exactly how many shoes you think you can sell in any given month. At Passion, this number ends up being $111.69. This leaves us with an actual operating profit, or EBITDA for industry folk, of $43.70 per shoe. This is sitting at 19%, which shockingly is close to double the footwear industry average of 10%. However, thank goodness this number is so high because as a high growth startup, we need this number as high as possible. In a giant company like, let's say, a Nike or a Steve Madden, this amount of money might just go to lining the bank account. However, when you're a company that's growing very quickly, this number is what directly contributes to your ability to hire new people, which by the way is code for actually creating US jobs. And then most importantly, this is your budget for actually buying more shoes. Y'all know that Passion has always struggled with sellouts. It's because this is the money we have to work with to keep buying more product without outside funding. So there you have it. We're able to clear a 19% profit and use that money to create jobs and make more shoes and grow the business, right? Not to mention that's also the amount of money that potentially could contribute to our corporate income tax base, but apparently the government doesn't care about that because with the elimination of Section 321, suddenly we get to play the tariff game. Something a lot of people don't realize when they hear the 145% tariff is that's not where it stops. The tariff is a surcharge charged on top of your base import rate as well as other rounds of tariffs. Your tariff rate is determined by the product's HTS code, which is determined by the type of product and the material. So for instance, given the example of our walnut knit bootie, we're looking at a textile boot. That's HTS code 6404193960. That HTS code already has a base duty rate out of China of 37.5%. Then you have to add on the 7.5% 301 tariff, which is the first round of tariffs that Trump introduced in his first term. Yes, they were never rolled back. Then you get to add in the new 145%. Throw on a 0.35% processing fee because suddenly we need a duty broker on every transaction. And you get a total rate of 190.35% on your cost of goods. So now let's go ahead and adjust these numbers, shall we? Let's go ahead and keep the MSRP at $230 because China's going to pay these tariffs, right? We now have to take the cost of this shoe and multiply it by that 190.35% tariff. This now means every time we import this shoe, we have to pay an additional $77.14 on top of the $40.54. But wait, don't forget about the heel kit because that gets tariff too. Luckily, at a slightly more advantageous rate of 83.05%. On a $9.29 heel kit, that is now a tariff of $7.72. With those adjustments, this now means my total cost of goods has skyrocketed to $159.47. Meaning that gross profit number, the number that covers all those operating costs and gives us a little bit of profit, yeah, that number isn't $155 $60.35 anymore. No, it's $70.53. However, assuming I want to keep all my people employed, continue product development, and manage my overhead, we push these operating costs through still at the same price, right? We suddenly go from profiting $43.70 per shoe to invest in more jobs and more shoes, to suddenly losing $41.16 on every single sale. So, moral of the story is, yeah, we're adding a tariff tax line item to cart. I'd love to know when the Chinese government is going to come pay this bill.
My husband just got an email saying that he lost his job because of the tariffs. He's a cargo pilot, and we voted for the lady. We didn't vote for this. This is so uncool. It's like, what are they trying to do? Like, what is happening? I'm sorry that happened, babe. Are you alright?
It's alright. I guess I can
He'll look for another
get a
job.
truck driver.
The pilot.
No, seriously. Let the ports go empty. Let the shelves be empty. Let everything be empty. Let the lights go out. I'm ready for full-on anarchy. I know you're ready. I'm ready. We've been ready. Let it all go empty. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm ready. I want to go back into the forest. I'm done with this. I'm done.
I gotta tell you, if there's no more Chinese products coming in the United States, the one good thing we don't have to worry about is cheap shit. You're gonna get some quality shit now. God bless America.
Motherfucker, you're sitting in a car that probably has Chinese parts, wearing that Chinese-made hat, talking about you don't want to buy any more cheap shit. Because I think you forgot the phone that you're fucking recording this video on, it's probably made in China. If tomorrow I snap my finger, all Chinese products around you just freaking disappear, you wouldn't all of a sudden have a bunch of quality stuff filling your shelves. You will probably be surrounded by empty shelves and some of the highest price tag you'll ever see for your everyday goods. And also, do you want to know why Chinese products are everywhere? It's cause bitches like you don't want to pay $400 for a fucking toaster. You Americans always wanted cheap stuff. Now you're bitching because it's cheap stuff. Pick a fucking struggle, dude. Let's be fucking for real. You're not gonna buy American. You're buying whatever that's 30% off from Amazon. So don't act like you're above all. You're just another broke ass American with a lot of opinions. God bless America? No. God bless the Chinese factory that made your fucking iPhone, cause without it, ain't nobody gonna see your dumbass takes.
I understand people don't want to get all their goods from other countries. Like, oh, everything we have is made in China. I get that. I would like to buy stuff here in America, and I would also like it not to cost me an arm and a leg. I would say too, though, that you have to have something in place to help grow these different businesses and industries, and not just shoot the current system in the foot and not cause congestion at ports. And to me, that, like, I hear a lot of people go like, well, I don't, I'll just buy it in America. It's like, yeah, when it gets to the point that we can actually make it in America, we can't just click our fingers overnight and it's just made in America now. Some of this stuff is going to take years to start producing here. And again, we have to have a reason to produce it here beyond a consumer demand reason. Like, that's a good reason, but that's not enough reason to make it here. You could just sell it here. You need a reason to make it here, like an incentives, like maybe it's, a comparative advantage here. Like maybe there's resources of some sort that you can get here that you can't get other places. There's factors into these things beyond just like, I want it, so it should be here. If you want it, it can be here. That's what's called trade. Someone can make it somewhere else and just ship it over here and sell it to you. So again, I'm all for a production-based economy. That doesn't mean it's devoid of financial systems and instruments, but shooting the current system in the foot, like I said earlier, and like hoping for the best is not really a good way to go about this. I would say, I would imagine that you should have other policies in place to help produce and incentivize companies and businesses and entire sectors to start up here, and you know, like we have like, a good example. We have the tech sector and startups in the tech sector. Why can't we have startups in, you know, other sectors, not just tech? You know.
I was gonna go out for work, but I just saw this video that the CIA trying to recruit some Chinese to betray their nation, and they made a video about it. It's just too funny. I have to stop and response to this. They can't even find the right person to speak a proper Mandarin. This is so bad. And a couple of years ago, the Chinese security agency dismantled the entire CIA operation in China. I think the CIA still haven't recovered yet. They really want someone to help them. But they're making some shitty videos. It's just weak. It's so weak. The pronunciation in this Chinese video feels like, you know, Panda Express.
This is a whole clip Donald Trump interview from Chinese TikTok, and the Chinese government already make it very obvious. China don't want to deal with him. China will leave him there, hang him there, let him dry by himself.
China, because they're trying to get a little bit. They want to make a deal, obviously. Right now, they're not doing business with us. People talk about going cold turkey with China, meaning just forget about it. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year with China. And now they're not doing any business with us, you know, not because of them, because of me. Because at 145%, you can't do business. But something's going to happen that's going to be possible. 20th, the tariffs haven't kicked in yet. I know that, and I don't want this to happen, but I know that China is doing very poorly right now. I just saw some reports coming out, and I don't want that to happen to China. I like the president a lot, President Xi. I don't want it to happen. I was actually saddened to hear it, but they're getting absolutely hammered in China. They're doing a big U-turn and going back because they don't want the goods, because 145% tariff. But at a certain point, I hope we're going to make a deal with China. We're talking to China, but their factories are closing all over China because we're not taking their product. We don't want their product unless they're going to be fair with us. Somebody said, well, were you happy? I said, I am not happy. I want China to do well. I want every country to do well. But they have to treat us fairly. We took over on...
Yeah, so oddly enough, during this time, I've been in China during this whole debacle as well, because I work with factories here, and yeah, we're fine. We're like, you know, factories are not closing, obviously. I don't even think anyone flinched here. They were kind of just like surprised and upset for their customers, like for their clients, but factories closing is hilarious. So the new narrative is Trump feels bad for China. You know, he doesn't want to see China suffer. You know, is this not the most beautiful play from the Narcissistic Handbook? Listen, I couldn't get what I want from you, so now I'm going to make it seem like you're the victim that I'm trying to help by removing what I put on you in the first place. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Hi, MAGA. You're right. These buildings were built by the United States.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this.
Search, like, as Donald Trump said about like 1,000 years ago, we're gonna build a wall. And he built the Great Wall in China.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
The word CCP, which I don't even know half the time when I say it, CCP, that 3 letters is new. It never existed before. Just think about that. Because CCP is a new word that can quickly spread an this idea of communism. You can say that word without even representing the country or its ideology. That is a great barbecue propaganda. BBQ.
I don't have a job. I'm a self-made millionaire when I was 26 years old, and I stopped working 28 years old. I divorced 2 white Americans in 6 years. So, I don't know, I just know. And I live my life like under middle class life standard in China. I live in one of the most poor city in China. I traveled in many countries you don't even know. All paid by myself. Yeah, I just having this very relaxing life. Like I don't need to think about anything. I can sleep anytime I want, get up anytime I want. You know, just have a lot of free time to enlighten you guys. Okay, I can answer this question from my personal feelings and experience, not a professional way. Over 90% of Chinese family, we all own homes. Over 60, maybe 70% of Chinese family, we own more than 2 or 3 homes. And if you're born in the countryside, your home and your land will be yours till the day you die. If the government needs that land to build something, the government will compensate you with a lot of money. You become rich immediately, basically. And we don't have property tax. We have basically very little bit income tax. If you make 5,000 or 6,000 per month, you pay no income tax. If you make 10,000 per month, maybe a little bit tax, income tax. Also, our grocery, electricity, gas, public transportation is all very affordable. So I think that's why Chinese people are able to save more than 50% of their income sometimes every month. I think that's why Chinese government is supported by over 90% of Chinese people, especially like me. After I lived in United States, California for years, I just realized, oh my God, Chinese government is much better.
Wow. The thing is that I'm not in America. Emotional damage, huh? I feel like that it's kind of weird. A lot of MAGAs, they have like some weird thinking, like feeling. They actually want everybody move to the United States to prove their viewpoint that the United States of America is the greatest country all around the world, that everybody all around the world want to move to the United States. But at the same time, they'd be like, oh, leave my country. So that's a fucking weird contradiction in their brains. So MAGAs would be like, Joey, please, I'm begging you, please, be in the United States. Oh my gosh, Joey, come to the United States, you're welcome to be in the United States. So in that case, once you arrive in the United States, I got a chance to say, oh, leave my country. So MAGAs, I got a question for you. Do you actually honestly want me to stay in America or not? You're confusing me.
Hey, what if I told you that China would rather tank its own economy than be the one to pick up the phone and call the United States for trade talks? You know what, though? That's exactly what's playing out. And the United States knew it. China's economy, it's under pressure. Real estate's in crisis. Exports are slipping, and foreign investment is drying up. You know, but instead of making the first move, Beijing, they play it cool. Why? Because in their eyes, reaching out, it looks like weakness. I mean, they'd rather stall for time than show their hand. Hey, but here's a twist. Washington, they saw this coming. So according to the reports, we made the first call. Not because we're weak, but because we understand the game China's playing. We knew they'd never call first, so we forced a reaction, and guess what? It worked. Chinese state media is already signaling that they're open to talks if the United States shows sincerity and treats them as equals. No threats, no humiliation, just quiet diplomacy. This isn't just about trade. It's about pride, leverage, and timing. And while both sides claim that they're holding firm behind the scenes, well, they're already adjusting positions. Because tariffs, they cut both ways, and nobody wants to bleed out first. So was this a power play, a peace offering, or both? Drop your take in the comments. This is the conversation the world should be watching.
Got to be. I guess it's starting, y'all. All the shelves are empty, and this is where all the vegetables and the fruit and everything is. I see.
I'm glad you watched the 6th amazing viewer. There's a narrative that is going on online that I want to address right here. So people are waiting to see who will blink first, China or the US. So at this point, I'm looking at this as a social case. These are people who are about to go starving, and we know the consequences of people starving. So this is a social case. And what if, blinking for China, I would say, if at all they get to blink, because we don't know who is telling the truth. So what if blinking for China is the greatness of America at this point? Because they are starving. They are worried. That you can see from the videos I've shared here, unfiltered TikTok. I am not making this up. Not paid, not propaganda, but just pure facts. You get what is happening here? And we know that America will be great again. But what if things are done in following a good procedure that cares about people? How many people have lost their job? How many people have been affected by these tariffs, directly or indirectly? And who are those people? How many people are fearing about the future of their children due to these tariffs? And how long is it going to take? What are the measures that are being taken to ensure that people are safe? What if blinking for China is the way that will make America great again? What if working in collaboration as you build your country is the greatness that you're looking for? I'm looking at this as a period where China and the US have both learned, and I'm glad that right now China is diversifying its customers, and let's see what happens. We are still watching, and I want to rest from this propaganda for a while now. We need to see the wonders around the world. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.